Welcome back. My name is Danielle Thornton. I'm an anxiety and OCD recovery coach who has recovered from multiple OCD subsets, and I help others do the same so you can have a happier life and healthier relationships. Today, I want to talk a little bit about how OCD attaches to relationships. Now, some of you may know and understand that you struggle with relationship OCD, and others may actually not even realize it. Because, like me, for a long time, OCD really attached to my relationships in a very, very subtle way. The way this showed up for me was a lot of avoidance of relationships. And it wasn't conscious. I didn't realize it. I dated quite a bit, actually, but I was essentially avoiding relationships because my brain was hyper focused on people's negatives. It was doing this to kind of keep me safe, to keep me out of relationships, because deep down there was some discomfort there. A lot of times with OCD, we don't realize sometimes it's a really high level of anxiety, and so it's very obvious. Other times there's a very low level kind of discomfort that just shows up as avoidance, and our brain gives us these really actually kind of rational reasons why. For me, again, it showed up in going on dates, but finding something wrong with everybody or not feeling attraction towards them. And for a long time, I just wasn't really aware that this was anxiety or discomfort, because the reasons that my brain came up with why maybe this wasn't the person for me or why I wasn't going to date seemed very rational, right? There was always a reason why. I was in school. I was focused on my work. I wanted to meet friends first. Lots of reasons why. But looking back, it kept me out of relationships for a good 18 years, most of my 20s and 30s. And it wasn't until I noticed this pattern in my late 30s. I was single. I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. I wanted that. But it wasn't until I kind of realized that I was the common denominator. But my brain was hyper focused on what was wrong with everybody else, hyper focused on the negatives, or giving me a lack of attraction to certain people. So our brains can be really tricky. They can give us these really minor signals. And then it wasn't until I got into a relationship, because I realized that this was maybe something wrong with me and a fear-based thing, that my anxiety hit like a ton of bricks, because I had been avoiding for so long. So just like I tell a lot of people, the problem with anxiety and OCD is the compulsions. It's what we're doing about it. It's the avoidance that we do, the checking, the ruminating, the reassurance seeking, right? All of that makes it so much worse. And when we reduce all of those compulsions eventually down to zero, all of this stuff goes away. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes support for most people. But I work with clients all the time who come see me for contamination OCD, harm OCD, sexual orientation OCD. I've worked with every OCD subset. And when I go down the compulsions list with them to help them identify all of their compulsions, we get to some of that avoidance and relationship-based compulsions. And sometimes we determine that there's actually a lot of anxiety and fear around relationships. It can just be overshadowed by other OCD subsets. Most people that I work with, well, maybe not most, I would say at least half the people I work with have multiple OCD subsets. They end up coming to me for a subset that gets really bad and out of control and starts to really affect their life. But the sooner you can get help with this anxiety, discomfort, fear, avoidance that you're experiencing, it'll keep these things from getting worse and worse and worse. So if you can relate to this, if you feel like you avoid relationships, that there's at least maybe not anxiety, but discomfort there, then OCD and anxiety may be affecting your relationships and you don't even realize it. And hopefully this video is helpful to a lot of you to decide to get some help with this and support with this so that it doesn't continue to persist, because the longer that we avoid relationships, the more anxiety that we're going to experience once we decide to get in it. The sooner we can address our OCD and anxiety, no matter what OCD subset it is, the longer we go on without proper treatment, which is exposure and response prevention, the worse that it's going to get. There may be ups and downs and quiet times, But the longer you go with avoiding and not getting the right help, the worse OCD gets. It's just the way it works because we're perpetuating this pattern of discomfort and not knowing how to handle discomfort. And for a lot of us, it doesn't seem like a big deal for years and years and years until it becomes a big deal. So I hope this was helpful. If you want help with any OCD subset, please know full recovery is possible. You can check out the link in the description below. I have a couple of programs right now, a lot of new stuff coming out this year for you guys. So please take that step. I know sometimes you're scared to do it, but take that step and get help. I promise you, you will not regret it. ERP works every single time when we do it properly, when we do it consistently, and a lot of times that takes support, and that's okay. I know I needed it. So thank you for listening today. Please subscribe to this channel, comment on this, let me know what you liked, what you didn't, and we will talk to you very soon.